It's been 20 years and he's still got his legs cut off by Obi-Wan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carcillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Join my best friend the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
You got it.
Even with my coffee, I'm a half step behind today. I don't know why. But Lee, how are you doing today, buddy?
So I'm having a coffee. I feel like I'm half step ahead right now. So they're the same thing though, Ray. Step ahead, step behind. You're stuttering and you don't know where you're going. I'm doing good, buddy. Again, spring is fully sprung here in Philadelphia as we give our normal weather report. A lot of geek and sports topics today. It's kind of a rich show.
Yeah, no, it is. We have a little bit of a backlog because obviously last week's episode was just all dedicated to WrestleMania. So this will be a great episode full of all the sports, Star Wars. We got video games, we got movies, we got everything to talk about. And because we did all wrestling last week, we're gonna take sort of a break from wrestling. We will talk about a wrestler later on, but
it's tough not to.
Yes, yeah. But we're going to kick things off. It's the NBA and NHL playoffs, buddy. Do you want to start with basketball or hockey? Dealer's choice.
I'll be honest with you, Ray. I've been very disinterested with both. So you go with whichever side you want to go. And I don't usually say that about playoffs, but I haven't jumped in quite yet.
Well, let's just get the NBA out of the way then, because I will say, at least because of my Knicks are, at least one of us has a team in this bracket.
Sure.
The Knicks and Pistons, the Knicks went up 3-1, winning both games in Detroit over the last few days, including a bit of a controversial finish at the end of Game 4. A lot of Pistons fans and the Pistons themselves were very angry that there was not a foul called in the last shot of the game. But if you watch the game, the refs really kind of swallowed their whistles for a lot of the game. There was a lot of fouls that could have been called. And personally, I actually kind of liked it because we've talked about it here ad nauseum on the show. I miss the more physical days of the NBA.
Yeah, I think most people do.
Yeah. So the refs swallowing the whistle on basically a scramble there for the loose ball and then a last second heave, I'm kind of okay with them just kind of being like, meh. I mean, obviously also because the result went in our favor. But Lee, again, no surprise. Not a lot of surprises here.
Seen a lot of sweeps is what I was seeing.
We've seen 2 sweeps, and we've got a lot of 3-1 series in the NBA. The Thunder, the 1 seed swept the 8 seed in both conferences. The Cavs swept the Heat. The Heat did not even show up. It was a historically bad series for an 8 seed. And then the Grizzlies had the Thunder on the ropes in several games, and then the Thunder had to make amazing comebacks. I don't know if that's a difference in talent, a difference in experience, but the Thunder sweep as well. Other than that, I mean, and the only other sort of upsets is in the West. You're seeing the Timberwolves really take it to the Lakers. And again, I think that's just youth over. LeBron is basically, even with Luka, trying to carry that team on his back, and he can't do it alone. And the Warriors, Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy is showing up. And this is how we've seen this time and time again. The Rockets, not a lot of experience. And the Warriors, a team that has a lot of experience, they are up 3-1. Lee, is there any series? Nuggets and Clippers is 2-2. That's probably the only really interesting series. Nuggets, only a couple years removed from an NBA championship. The Clippers not used to winning, and somehow this series is 2-2. But Lee, is there anything in the NBA first round that really kind of stands out to you aside from, again, most of the favorites being ahead here?
No, and that's the problem, right? Like we've said this, the NBA playoffs don't really get super interesting until the later rounds. Anytime the Lakers are struggling, it's a little bit of a storyline, but they will probably come through at the end of the day. Just there's a lot of talent on that roster. I'd be surprised if they just get knocked out here. Not to mention that would cause mass havoc after that trade.
Yes.
No, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I think the NBA playoffs are super bloated. I think that obviously the play-in rounds are kind of a joke to me. All right. And then when you get 8 seeds getting destroyed, you don't need, what's the point? Yeah. I'd rather you go, instead of 10 teams, I'd rather you go 6 teams, give buys and make this interesting.
Kind of do what
right?
baseball does now.
Yeah, if you want to have a 10-team playoff, that's what the in-season tournament is for, in my opinion. You know,
Good point.
yeah, 20 of the 30 teams make a playoff game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and as bad as the 1 and 8 seeds were, the play-in games were just as bad. Like
it's not great. It's not competitive. And again, this is not new for the NBA. I don't want to give the impression of like, oh, this is the same thing happened when the Bulls were around. I mean, it's not new.
No.
It's just never been fixed.
No, and the thing is, yeah, and I think even when the Bulls were around, you kind of knew it was going to happen, but it still felt like, I don't know, it just had a different air to it, right? Where like it didn't feel inevitable, right? Like some of these results do now.
Yeah.
I feel like in the 90s. And maybe that again, that's the folly of youth or whatnot. Now that we've seen, 40 years of the NBA in our lifetimes, it's kind of just like, okay, we see we know the pattern.
Yeah.
But no, it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, right now, if the Knicks are up 3-1, Celtics are up 3-1, they would meet in the second round. That would be one heck of a matchup. If the Pacers they beat the Bucks who are completely banged up now, the Pacers should much like how the Pacers beat the Knicks last year. Pacers taking advantage of a very injured Bucks team.
Right.
Them versus Cavs will be an interesting matchup. Nuggets, Clippers, whoever wins that versus the Thunder should be fun. And then again, look, if the Warriors and Timberwolves both upset the Rockets and Lakers, that'll be a fun second round.
It gets interesting. It does get interesting, yeah.
It'll get interesting in the second round. And yeah, hopefully my Knicks finish off the Pistons tonight over on TNT.
How about the Dallas owners saying, or the GM saying, I didn't realize the fans were that attached to him. Like he said that last week. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Tell me you're out of touch without saying you're out of touch. I didn't know the fans were that into our star player.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's very different down there than when Mark Cuban was in charge. So but that's what happens. It's billionaires playing with their toys, right? Yeah. I buy video games. Billionaires buy sports teams.
Franchises.
So yeah. So and that's what it is. They play like a video game. So
it's true.
Yeah, so I mean, it's unfortunate, but yeah, second round matchups should everything hold, look a lot more interesting than a lot of these first round matchups because again, there's just a real lack of parity. In the NBA.
Well, and quite adversely in the NHL, there's an amazing amount of parity.
Yes.
I would say I have not watched the NHL playoffs as closely as I have in recent years. I think it's a mix of things going on in my own life, nothing bad, just a lot coming at me right now and a lot of planning for other things, but. Before last night, it was like the entire Western Conference was tied 2-2.
Yes.
Tell me the last time that happened in any playoffs, right?
Yeah.
This is how good the NHL is. And then the Eastern, none of the series are finished. Some of them could end tonight, but they're either 2-2 or 3-1.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how it should be.
Yes.
We said it before. I cannot tell you who's going to win any of those series right now. Like people are like, well, Toronto's up 3-1. I'm like, yeah, it's Toronto.
Right.
And
the thing is so many of these games, like I have been watching on the NHL playoffs. Carolina, the Devils.
What world is this that you're watching more hockey than me right now?
I don't know. It's weird. It's bizarro world. That might change soon as well, as both of our lives are going to get busy in the coming future. Yeah. But the Hurricanes and Devils, it feels like every game is going to overtime. Carolina's up 3-1, but every game is basically going to overtime. And same with Toronto and Ottawa. Right. Like Toronto it's like aside from game one where Toronto won 6-3, every one of these games has been a nail biter. And again, it's just Ottawa's had some bad puck luck.
Yeah.
They've also they've had some inconsistent play as well. But like
I'm gonna say something that's gonna be controversial to Toronto fans. But I don't think I'm wrong here. Austin Matthews is one of the best goal scorers I've seen in the modern game.
Yes.
And he is quickly earning a moniker of someone who cannot finish a game.
Yes.
All right. He can score a lot, but he is not scoring the big goal. He's just not doing it. All right. He didn't do it in the Four Nations face-off. He's had several chances to do like some killing thing, like the game that they lost in overtime. I did watch that. He needs to take this team on his back and get a game-winning goal. A lot of people think because he's got that captaincy that's been holding him back a little bit. But dude, this is it. This is the moment. Like he was captain of USA too. Like if he doesn't do something this season to put them over the hump,
yeah.
Like I'm going to start saying like he's not clutch. He's just not a clutch scorer. Now, with
No,
that said, he is completely capable of this. Like, this isn't like a hate Austin Matthews thing. It's just Toronto fans are going to go nuts over what I'm saying. But it's like, guys, I'm sorry. You haven't been past the second round. Like, God bless you for that. You haven't won a game in the second round.
Yeah.
All right. Like, this guy's got to do his job. All right. And his job is when it's pressure time and you're in overtime, he's got to finish the game. McDavid does it. McKinnon does it. Crosby does it. Ovechkin does it.
Yep.
Austin, it's time to do it. You got to figure this out, or you're going to start getting that guy does not come through in the clutch moniker. All right. Not the first, you won't be the last, but Toronto needs to get to the second round and then compete. Because, like, last year, Ray, we said it. They got past the first round, and we said, you know what, that was their whole goal. And they got killed in the second round.
Yeah.
Killed.
Well, and the thing is, if they keep playing like this, that'll happen again because Florida, they're up 3-1 on Tampa in what has been a hard hitting.
It's been a good series, yeah.
It has been it's the Battle of Florida, and it's clear these two teams do not like.
Think about that for a minute, what you just said, because that's a joke 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Yes. Now it's one of the fiercest rivals in the league because Southern hockey has completely taken off.
I was talking to a couple of friends from Florida the other day, and I'm like, Florida is now a powerhouse in hockey.
Big time.
Between the Lightning and the Panthers, like
both their teams could win the cup.
100%, and that makes this first round matchup all the more interesting and has been good. Again, Florida up 3-1, but again, this has been a back and forth battle that the Panthers just have the edge in. Again, same thing with Washington and Montreal. Montreal should have gotten steamrolled. Washington also needing overtime goals, including one by Alexander Ovechkin, to go up 3-1 in that series. These matchups could have easily gone either way. And even with these teams all having an advantage, wouldn't be surprised if a couple of them go to a game 7 and we have an upset here or there.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I also wouldn't be surprised if some of these end at 4-1. But that's the point we're trying to make, right?
Yeah.
Like,
we don't know what's going to happen.
We do not know. And again, I've said, a bunch of these teams went up 2-0 this year. I say this every year. It's like, I don't want to say non-NHL fans, but fans who don't watch the NHL diligently.
Yeah.
A 2-0 lead in hockey is not what you think it is. And I've said that for decades now. People, it's over. Like, it's not over, right? No. If you go up 3-0 or 3-1, now you have a significant advantage. Okay. Right. But 2-0 to me has never been that much of an advantage. I've seen I've seen it on the road. I've seen it at home, right? And again, every series in the West was 2-2 going into last night. That's amazing. Even Winnipeg.
And the perfect example is Winnipeg versus St. Louis. Winnipeg dominated the Blues in Winnipeg. The first two games go up 2-0. The series shifts to St. Louis, and St. Louis dominates the Jets, the President's Trophy winner. And now we're tied to, St. Louis's offense exploded for 12 goals in 2 games, and now led by former Ranger Pavel Buchnevich. And now suddenly we're tied 2-2 going back to Winnipeg. And now here again, much like with the Leafs, talking about, same old Leafs. We're talking about same old Jets. Yeah. Because it always feels like the Winnipeg Jets also can't seem to get over that hump. Yeah. You have the best goalie in the world, arguably, in Connor Hellebuck. And
no, not arguably. You do.
And he's given up 12 goals in 2 games now. And it's like, what's happening?
Exactly. It's a crazy world hockey. And it just goes to show you. Like, again, you got a 3-0 lead in the later rounds of basketball. That's over. It's over.
Don't even bother watching.
Yeah, I've only seen it one time. It was in the final. The team came back. All right.
Yeah, then the thing is in NBA, nobody has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit to win.
Yeah, it was 3-1, right? When
yes, it was 3-1. It was 3-1.
Right. And that, again, that's my point. Is like, I love that. I love the parity in hockey. Even after this round, I cannot tell you who's going to win the Stanley Cup. I can't tell you even who's going to be there. Like, there's no favorites. Every team is a dark horse in this thing. Now, I will say too that I think another thing too that's unique, Ray, is that this is the first season I can remember where none of the teams that I follow somewhat closely or even moderately closely are in the playoffs. Like, Pittsburgh's out, Flyers are out, Rangers are out. Yep. Some of these teams I kind of follow, they're just not there. So I wonder if that's been playing into it. Now, again, I love hockey. You know that. I can watch any game. I really do think I've been busy. I've also been watching Daredevil and Severance a lot. So maybe that has something to do with it. But you can bet your butt I'm going to be watching these more and more as it goes on. But I'm keeping tabs on it but the NHL shows everyone how it's done. This has been a monumental season in NHL history, and I have a feeling the Cup final and the Eastern and Western Conference Finals are going to be pretty epic this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I had to make a choice right now, I think the East will come down to Florida and Carolina, right?
It's so tough, Ray. I mean,
no, it's tough, but I feel like those are the two teams that are most primed and most experienced.
Well, the thing is, I like your pick. The thing is, I wonder with Carolina going to overtime so much, that can really hurt you later on.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say this too. Even what I said about Austin Matthews, I'd like to see Toronto break through.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of talent on that roster. I'd like to see them at least get to the Eastern Conference final.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen, but yeah, I mean,
it's tough. It's one of those things until you see. I would love to see Washington go as well.
I mean, that is the thing. Yeah. I mean, if anybody, I think could be a quote unquote dark horse, not really a dark horse, maybe the number 1 seed, but Washington would be the other team that I could see possibly sneaking into it's not even sneaking, but getting to the Eastern Conference final. But again, it looks like it'll be Washington versus Carolina. We'll see what happens.
Which is another great rivalry, by the way. And that's a division rivalry.
Yes.
As it's supposed to be. The other funny thing is West, good luck. Good luck picking who's coming out of the West.
That's one I don't know. That one. Give me a blindfold and I'll start throwing darts.
Yeah, you might as well. I cannot tell you. I mean, gut instinct, you go with experience, which means the Golden Knights. I mean, but it's like I can't tell you. I usually like to pick the Avalanche. They're down in their series.
Yeah,
right? And they could come back. You just don't know. I just know a lot of playoff brackets are going to be destroyed after this first round.
No, absolutely. I mean, again, go Vegas versus Minnesota. One game, Minnesota looks unbeatable. Next game, Vegas looks unbeatable. That has been a back and forth series each game. Kings versus Edmonton.
Yeah.
If you love offense, that is a series for you because it has been back and forth. There have been a lot of goals scored.
There's so much history between those teams. That's a great rivalry that no one talks about either.
Yeah. And again, like you said, in Dallas just won game 5 last night to take a 3-2 edge in that series against Colorado. And again, whoever wins these first round matchups in the West are going to be, I'll say this, as much I get as good as Florida is, and maybe it will hurt them later on, but I will say this, whoever wins the West will be so battle tested by the time they get to the Stanley Cup final that it's going to be hard for me not to pick a Western Conference team this year. Yeah. But again, to your earlier point, they also might end up being exhausted, which could favor the East. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's an interesting playoffs.
Yeah.
And then ending our playoff segment, much more interesting than the NBA.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's the truth. It is what it is. So we go from the postseason to the preseason.
Yeah, the Giants drafted Shedeur Sanders. How about that?
That did not happen. It did not happen.
It almost happened, except
no, it did not.
I can't wait.
There was a 30-second period where I held my breath and turned as blue in the face as my shirt is right now.
Can we dive right into Shedeur Sanders because that's the big topic on the draft?
Yeah, we'll jump right into Shedeur Sanders, who falls to the 5th round before finally being drafted by Cleveland, the second quarterback drafted by Cleveland. We're gonna get into the full analysis of that, but yeah, Lee. There's a lot of going into this.
There's a lot.
What are your thoughts on why Shedeur fell from arguably a top 5 pick to a 5th round pick?
Yeah, I think that when you look at situations like this, you got to take in all the information, and there's a lot. And the truth usually lies somewhere in the middle of all of it. Yeah. And I think it's a mix of I think that Deion Sanders is his agent. They overhyped him to the point that it became annoying for some people. That's number one. Number two, it is pretty painfully obvious that he did not do well in his interviews, that he completely screwed his interviews.
Every team has said, and a lot of people are being like, oh, well, he shouldn't have to do well in the interview. I'm like, oh, no, give me a break. It's a job interview.
It's a job interview. If you think you shouldn't have to do well in the interview, you're a moron. All right.
Yeah.
The Giants saying that they were actually interested in him, but he was so bad in his interview, came unprepared.
Yep.
That there's no way that we're going to draft him. And they said that Dart, who you did draft, was very prepared.
Yeah.
So these interviews absolutely mattered. And I'm also told he didn't really throw in the combine or
He didn't do any of that. He didn't do anything
Yeah.
outside of his
Right.
tape to raise his value.
So that's part of the problem. Okay. I think he's better than a 5th round pick. That's the other side of this. Okay.
I agree.
But I do think that the NFL owners and management are making a statement of, you do not decide when or where you go. We do.
Yeah.
This is our league. And people might have a problem with that. It's not wrong. It's not a lie. It's their league. They can do what they want to do.
They're the CEOs.
Yeah, it's true, guys. I mean, that's the way it is. And like I said, if you came unprepared to a job interview, no matter how much talent you had, I mean, I wouldn't hire you. Like that's just the way it is. Now, I will give credit to Shedeur that I think he handled this beautifully.
Yes.
In terms of, like, he was not rude. He was very gratuitous and thankful for just being able to be in the NFL, which was the right move.
Yes.
But the fact that his brother fired Dion that night, basically, as their agent, and they got Drew Rosenhaus of all people, and then signed with the Buccaneers immediately, tells you something. And again, look, just kind of rounding this out, Ray, I think Deion Sanders has done a great job at Colorado. I like Deion Sanders. I think he gets way more of a bad rep than anybody gives him, and he's a very loud person. Don't get me wrong, but I don't dislike Deion Sanders. Yeah. But I think that there's a message being sent here of, you cannot manufacture yourself into a first top 5 draft pick.
Yeah.
And look, the last scout is that, and we will find this one out. Okay. Is that he's just not as good as people think he is. There's a lot of NFL people saying he's not as good as he's been portrayed to be. Now, the last note, we will find out. All right.
Yes.
Shedeur Sanders now has been handed this opportunity to show that he's as good as they say he is. It's going to be a much longer road, but that's the position you're in now. And if he's worth a damn, we'll find out.
Yes.
I did say on a video, and people keep misquoting me on this. I said, this is not Tom Brady, but it reminds me of how irrelevant Tom Brady was, and he found a way through. I said, now it's a similar path for Shedeur Sanders, even though he has a lot more riding for him than Tom Brady did at that time.
Right. His profile is a lot higher than what Brady's was when he was drafted.
People, he's not Tom Brady. I'm like, no one is. I never said that, guys. Like what are you talking about?
No.
But
I mean, and that's the
interesting
thing.
stuff.
Yeah, to your point, I've seen some NFL people compare him to Johnny Manziel.
Yeah,
they're afraid he's the next Manziel, and that a lot of his success was only because he was throwing to Travis Hunter, the same way Manziel was throwing to Mike Evans, who now is obviously Mike Evans is on the way to the Hall of Fame as a receiver, right? Like there's a lot of bad comparisons, as many as there's good comparisons for Shedeur.
Well, and how about this, right? Like, who is the authority on this? It's not you and me. It's them. No. Like the guys saying that he's overrated, those are the guys you'd want to listen to. Yeah. I don't think there's any racial stuff involved in this. That was one of the dumbest.
No, I thought I saw that a couple times too. And
I was like, look, kind of hard to justify that when you look at the first round in general. All right. The second thing too is that, they're just hating on Deion Sanders. Maybe that's not unfair though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it might be a thing. It might be, it's a chance for the league to also kind of, again, send a message to all the college players to kind of be like, be a little humble. You're not guaranteed a spot in the NFL.
Well, and just because you have NIL deals does not mean you're going to be an NFL all-star.
Right. NIL does not equal NFL.
No. Right. The other thing too, I'm going to say this is that, that league has always been run this way, but here's the deal. I'm also thinking this. We just saw the Giants last year be ridiculed because of that Hard Knocks thing.
Yeah.
No one wants to be the next guy, right?
Well, and I said this before the draft. Yeah. I said there's a lot of teams that the circus that comes with Shedeur is going to rub a lot of teams, especially including my Giants, the wrong way. Right.
And
especially
of course you would go to the Browns, who need the circus.
Yes, well, who are always a circus basically anyway. But again, this was a really weird draft. Will Howard, the national champion winning quarterback, fell to the 6th round to Pittsburgh.
Right. He wanted to go there though, which is pretty.
I think that's a steal. I think that is a golden opportunity. I think Will Howard is going to be a steal in the 6th round. But yeah, I mean, like the crazier thing I think for Cleveland is that 2 rounds earlier, they also took Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon and now have 5 quarterbacks on their roster at the moment.
Well, they have 4 quarterbacks under 40.
Right. They have Joe Flacco, who is actually the favorite to start going into the season.
Yeah. Well,
Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, who I actually think will probably end up getting cut. Deshaun Watson, who is going to probably be designated for the year on the injured list, just so they don't have to deal with him. And then you've got Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. You have a pair of rookies. By the way, Cleveland, boy, if every Cleveland fan, Mike the Miz, little WWE, when he saw that Cleveland traded the number 2 pick, he looked shell-shocked.
Right.
Did they get a haul? Yes. Did they do anything with that haul? No. Although they will also have a couple picks next year. Maybe they'll do something then. But Cleveland, oof, I am so sorry. I am so...
They gave up a generational talent by trading that pick.
But you gave up Travis Hunter to Jacksonville.
Which makes... it doesn't make any sense to me. That's exactly the player you needed.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. I mean, and then again, and this is why a lot of people thought that when they traded back that they were going to take Shedeur with number 5, right? That's why they did that. They're like, well, we know Jacksonville's not going to take Shedeur. We're going to get a bunch of picks, and then they took a lineman, which is nothing wrong with it. They took they took one of the best linemen in the draft, but it's going to help Myles Garrett, right? It's going to take pressure off of him, right? In theory, it's a smart move. It was surprising.
It's a big move and I'm surprised Jacksonville's the team that took it, but it makes sense, I guess, in some ways. I mean, Trevor Lawrence needs somebody but you think more of a contender would try and grab that spot, but they probably were asking for too much.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what happened. Yeah, I think there was a haul, right? And there were a couple of hauls. There were a couple of big trades. The Giants fortunately only traded 2 third-round draft picks. They moved back up into the first round.
Giants had a great draft. It was quiet but smart draft, and you got a lot of the pieces that you needed.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think it plays out this year, but and again, look, we said this before. The Giants are not needing to contend right now. They need to build right now. You are not going to pass the Eagles or the Capitals, Commanders, right now. Right. It's about rising up in 2 or 3 years when those teams start to come down.
Yeah. The Giants hit with these picks, not even all of them, just most of them. Right.
Yeah.
If they hit, here's the thing, even if the Giants just hit with their 2 first round picks, in theory, the Giants will be fine. Because I've been saying it all along, all we really need most is a quarterback. I think we got our guy in Jackson Dart. Brian Daboll loves him. He's calling him the next Josh Allen and all this other stuff. Not to say he will be, but he says very much in that mold, right? And then they got Abdul Carter. And in the 3rd round, they got Darius Alexander. Yeah. They got 2 legit pass rushers or linemen. And now suddenly the Giants, arguably, their front 7 is as good as anybody else's in the conference.
Which is finally, Ray. Finally.
I mean, you've got Kayvon Thibodeau, you've got Brian Burns, you've got Sexy Dexter Lawrence, who continues. He's an all-pro defensive tackle. Now you have Darius Alexander.
You have a foundation. You have a foundation now.
Absolutely.
And no distractions. Look, I'm not wrong here. Your biggest distraction last year was playing for another team. All right. So there's no distractions anymore. Yeah. You can, the fans will give you crap for Saquon forever, but we can move on. Yeah. Oh, we had a great draft, but Howie Roseman's probably the best GM in football for the last 5 years.
You guys retooled, you reloaded for the pieces you lost or retired or whatever. You got big depth there. You guys had a nice draft. But again, also, by the way, speaking, quickly about running backs, the Scat Man, Cam Scataboo. I'm going to have so much fun. Bam, boom, this kid, he was like, I used to practice running it by running into telephone poles. He's a psychopath. I love it. No, honestly, though, he reminds me, he's smaller, but he reminds me of like a Brandon Jacobs. And you partner him now with Tyrone Tracy, who had a very good rookie year. We talked about it, obviously not Saquon, but he had a very good rookie year. And now suddenly the Giants have 2 legit running backs, in my opinion, in that backfield to go with Jackson Dart. And they also got a great offensive lineman in Mbao. He's drafted as a tackle, but I think he's going to be more of a guard in the NFL. But big ol' M-Bow just going bow, bam, boom. It's great. I love it.
I think the Giants are in a position to go 500 next year.
Oh, absolutely. I think they're going to. I think eight wins. I think 8 wins is fair.
I think that. I know you can't actually go 500, but you know what I'm saying. And I think that one of the NFC East teams is going to suffer because of the Giants. I'm hoping it's
Dallas.
the Cowboys. Yeah,
it's going to be Dallas.
I'm hoping it's the Cowboys, but you're actually in a position. If the Eagles or Commanders don't take you seriously, that's a massive mistake. Now, I can't see the Eagles doing that, but who knows?
Yeah. No, I think
go Birds.
I mean, look, here's the thing. I think Dallas is one Dak injury away from being in last place.
I'm surprised Dallas didn't fill their quarterback position. Like, there
was a thought that Dallas might have taken Shedeur too. Like,
I thought that would have actually been a great idea.
Yeah.
Because I think that
Jerry World, that would have sold itself.
I just think that it's a mix of things, of obviously Deion Sanders' history with the team, but also the fact that if there's ever a circus to meet that circus, it's Jerry World, like you said. And it probably would have worked. And they could have totally positioned that as Dak's going to mentor you for a few years, which is fine.
Yep.
And it's like, you could just tell they thought he was going to walk in and start. And it's just, Anyway, it was a good draft for our teams. I'm still on top of the world champions, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. But
whole year, Ray. I'm looking at you want to see my championship hat? It's behind me. No, look, I can just turn the camera a little bit if you want. Look there. That's a Westbrook jersey, but it's all championed out.
Okay. Congratulations.
Fly, yes. Eagles, fly. Okay, I won't.
It was a good honestly, I believe in the division, I think the Cowboys did have the worst draft. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, just continue to be irrelevant.
They desperately then too, whereas you filled pieces from a team that's at a championship caliber, they've tried to fill pieces out of desperation.
Listen, I just want to remind everybody here that Jalen Hurts was born, grew up, went to college, went to the NFL, and won a Super Bowl, and has been to multiple NFC championship games, and Dallas has done none in that time.
Yep.
He's been to
95.
Yeah, he's done more in his life than since they've been in an NFC championship game, which is stupid. Been close a few times, but not.
Oh yeah, no, they made the playoffs a couple times. They made the second round a couple times.
Yeah,
but I will say this: it is actually a credit to Jerry that team remains relevant 30 years after the end of their dynasty.
Yeah,
right. Because honestly, folks, look, I hate to say it, the Cowboys are really irrelevant if you look at the last 30 years of the history of the NFL.
Yeah, they're not. As a few years under Romo and 1 year under Dak that I thought, oh, wow, they're really there.
They're going to do something, and then they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
And they didn't.
Even the year they won the division.
Romo botching the snap on the extra point. The Giants upsetting them in Jerry World on the route to their Super Bowl. And you just kind of like the Packers a couple of years ago. Going down there and putting, what was it, like a 40 burger, a 50 burger on them or something? Like,
now, here's a question. We do this every year. I'm going to do it right now. Will we see a repeat NFC East champion this year?
No.
It's been a long time.
It's been 25 years.
Yeah. So are you assuming the Commanders are going to take it this year?
I think the Commanders are going to take it. I think it's going to be like what the North was last year, where you had 14-win Lions and 13-win Vikings. Like I could see that kind of scenario.
It's going to be close. I can't see the Eagles faltering too much.
No, I don't think the Eagles are going to fall off. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But I think that should Washington's picks hit, should Jaden Daniels continue to grow and not hit a sophomore slump, I think that I think Washington is the one that's.
I'm going to go the other way. I think the Eagles repeat. I think it's the first time. They're to me they're just
be surprised.
They're too strong.
No, they are the two favorites coming into this season. 110%.
And keep in mind too, a lot, not all the time, but I'd say 6 to 7 of those years where there could have been a repeat, there was an injury. or something that stopped that team from
There's
competing.
always
something.
a variable like that that can happen. Absolutely.
Yeah, like the one year, like I think 1 year Dak was out, and like that, Dallas probably should have repeated that year, but they didn't. So, but it continues to be the most, even when they're bad, the most competitive division. In the NFL.
Yeah, the Giants will not compete for the division this year, but I will say they will compete for the division next year.
Potentially, yeah.
I would say because here's the thing. I think that obviously Russell Wilson will start under center week 1. Unless there's injuries or unless Jackson Dart really just blows everyone away.
Yeah, even then, you shouldn't.
Probably not.
Position. Yeah.
Probably not. I think they're going to do with Jackson what they kind of did with Eli and Kurt Warner.
I think Russell Wilson might have a great season here, man. Like, this is his last shot, and he knows it.
It is his last shot. Yeah. It is his absolute last shot.
Yeah, I think you got to give him a little more credit. Like, he could have a resurgence. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen here. And
oh yeah.
I mean, like I'll tell you what, if you had him the last 5 years, you'd be in a better position. So
we'd be in a better position, but I also don't think we'd be in that much a better position. No, but now again, the Giants front seven, because I didn't even mention Bobby Okereke in the middle. Like, I mean, the Giants. I love the kid that they signed out of New Orleans at corner. The Giants defense has me excited. The offense gives me hope, but the defense has me excited. The Giants are going to get after the Giants off. The trenches. The offensive line made a big jump from 2 years ago to last year. If they make another jump like that this year, Russell Wilson will be fine.
Yeah.
Then you look at the defense, the jump they made from 2 years ago to last year. If they do that again, the Giants could have a top 5 defense in the league if they do that again.
Right. Well, we didn't plan this, Ray, but you're wearing that Giants blue, and I'm wearing Eagle green. We'll see what happens.
No, I mean, technically it's Mega Man blue, but it is. Yes, it is.
It's blue and green.
Yes.
And there's an eagle on my shirt, even though it's not the actual Eagle shirt.
Yes. Also, one quick little thing, fun little note coming from the NFL also this week that kind of fell under the radar, but I saw it and got very excited. They are doing a collaboration with Hasbro for Transformers. NFL helmets that turn into a Transformer, which I just think is a lot of fun. They announced the first 4. They are eventually going to do all 32 teams. They announced the first 4, though. I think Kansas City, Dallas, Pittsburgh, and someone else. And they confirmed the second wave will include the Buffalo Bills. But that's a fun little thing.
Always.
When the Giants one comes out, I will probably buy one because
they're trying to get that younger audience, man.
Desperately trying.
Desperately.
Yes.
Speaking of your audiences.
Speaking of audiences and trying desperately to connect with your fans, the best Chicago team probably still, even with the Blackhawks having a couple of Stanley Cups, but probably the one that everybody still thinks of with Chicago is obviously the Dynasty Bulls of the 90s.
I think that's fair. Like that's exactly right the way you said that.
Right. And so the White Sox unveiled recently a new City Connect jersey. I'm so glad the Yankees don't do these dumb things. The White Sox unveiled a Chicago Bulls style jersey, reminding all baseball fans that the best team in Chicago is still a basketball team.
It's lame, it's uninspiring, and it's really embarrassing. All right.
Yeah.
First off, this sounds funny. The Bulls don't need that kind of labeling on one of the worst teams in baseball, number one. Yeah. Number two, I'd rather buy the Bulls giveaway night baseball jersey, which this is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but it's embarrassing, right? And again, if the White Sox were the best team in baseball, it would be embarrassing.
Yeah.
All right. It's just worse because they're not. So I don't know what the thought process was here. Like never when any team does a City Connect or anything like that in any sport, do I think you should be mimicking another team from your town. That you're missing the point completely.
Yeah.
Right. Like when the Phillies did it, like people hated it at first. It is the original colors of the Philadelphia flag, like his PA colors. I got it. Right. We all wanted a Fanatic themed jersey, which I thought would have been great.
Yeah.
All right. But guess what? Fanatic, part of the Phillies. Philadelphia flag, part of the city. Can you imagine if the Phillies came out dressed up like an orange and black?
City Connect.
Yeah. Or the Phillies came out in a Kelly green jersey. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. It's basically just saying, when you think of this city, You think basketball, not baseball.
The only city that can pull this off is Pittsburgh because everyone wears the same colors.
Right.
So
that's very true. Yeah.
It's like, this is stupid, guys. Whoever thought of that, you're an idiot, and it's horrible. And you're not going to convince me it's not Bulls red.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you're desperate. You're
desperate.
Like, I mean, the White Sox, probably will be slightly better this year. They're still going to be they're still on pace for 100 losses. They're still a bad team. And
I would not want my franchise associated with that. I don't know what they were thinking. I guarantee you, maybe Reinsdorf or someone was like, "Oh, let's do it."
Well, yeah, because he owns both teams. So
just dumb.
Yeah, it's awful.
I read a story today, by the way, that Bryce Harper really wanted to go to the Chicago White Sox.
Really?
Yeah, this is. I could show you this, and that there's an interview of him saying like it was my favorite interview. They said, "Why didn't you go?" Jerry Reinsdorf didn't show up to my second interview.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
They could have had him.
What a slap in the face. But yeah, but also what a slap in the face.
I know. Now he's a Philly for life.
We bash Shedeur Sanders for doing bad interviews. But remember, folks, sometimes the interviewer is also being interviewed.
That's so true. How do you not show up for that generational talent?
Wow, what an idiot. One of the worst. We always said this. I feel like we have a new worst owner in sports every week. Reinsdorf's up there for sure.
Well, he's also one of the greatest. But yes.
He's one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest.
Yeah.
A tale of two sports careers. Great for like 20 years and bad for like 20 years. But anyway.
Right. That's fair. That's very fair.
Talking about bad, this has to be mentioned. This is we talk about parity in the NBA. This is also bad for baseball's having some tough parity issues right now. We talk about the historically bad White Sox. We are now on the verge of the historically bad Rockies, who have gotten off to the worst start, even worse than the White Sox last year, a 4-24 record. They are 20 games under 500 before the end of April. They are on pace for 135 losses.
Records are meant to be broken, Ray.
We thought that the White Sox loss record would stand for a generation at least. It isn't even going to stand for a season.
Yeah, which is insane when you think about it.
Sell the team. How do you put this product on the field? This is a disgrace. By the way, I want to let the Colorado Rockies know I'm available to be your new GM. I'm available to help. I can help. I know baseball because clearly nobody in your organization does. Holy cow, is this awful? This is so bad that the Rockies should be forced to leave Colorado immediately. Send them to Charlotte, Memphis, Portland. They are so bad that they need like the poor Athletics. Go to Oakland. I don't care. Like, oh my God, this is disgusting to watch.
It's bad.
This is ridiculous. Somebody needs to be punished. Somebody needs to go to jail for this or something. Like, how do you 4-24?
It's pretty bad.
And look, and I get the National League West is stacked, right? But you're basically giving all of these teams 14 wins to start. Dodgers, Giants, Diamondbacks, and Padres, basically they're 14-0. When they started the season started because they had to play the Rockies 14 times. Right? Or even we'll say 13-1. We'll give everybody a break. Maybe one day it'll rain or something, and the Rockies will get a win in a shortened game or something. Like, how?
It's brutal.
How do you field that sort of a product?
In professional sports, yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's mind-boggling. And I get they've got some bad contracts. Chris Bryant was a mistake and all this other stuff. But, like, you've got a couple of decent players. Like, just by odds alone, you should have won more than 4 games. Fire everyone. Fold the team. Go somewhere else. Like, can we have what's the opposite of an expansion draft? Like a redistribution draft. Every person in every team in baseball has to take one Rockies player, and then the team just folds. This way, you don't lose any jobs or anything. The union will be happy. Every team gets one Colorado Rocky, and they have to go there, and then the team is just dissolved. And
Right.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out next year. I mean, oh my God! Like the second worst team in baseball, which is now the White Sox, will get the whatever good. I think Brendan Doyle or whatever. There's a couple of good players there. They'll go and you'll go in reverse order, right? So, but the Dodgers, whoever the worst person is on the Rockies, some reliever with an 11 ERA, they'll go to the Dodgers, right? Like,
Ray, I've got a chance. I'm going to be in Chicago next week, and I have a chance. The Cubs are out of town, but I can watch the White Sox take on the Marlins in what will be an action-packed game. The giveaway, the Friday night game is Harry Potter night. The Saturday night game is 1940s varsity sweater night. And then the 11th is Coca-Cola Family Sunday. I don't know if I want to do any of those. I don't know if I want to do any of those. And there's no other team in town. The Cubs are out of town.
The second worst team in baseball takes on the third worst team in baseball.
That might be a game.
You can get that ticket for $5. For $5,
I could probably get that ticket for free, buddy.
Actually, you're probably right.
I don't need to pay. Just get in there. You want a new fan?
Oh my God. Baseball, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have to install. Remember, there's no baseball next year, folks, because I'm calling it now. There's going to be a lockout.
I think you're right.
You need to install a salary floor. You need to install a salary. You're never going to have a salary cap.
No, but you at least have though. Yeah.
Yeah, you at least have to have a floor. Every team has to spend at least $100 million. Something.
Yeah, I'll say this too, right? This is beside the point. You look at the best two players. I think that Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge are 1A, 1B on any given night. Like people always 1 and 2. No, they're
and no more deferments. No more deferments.
Yeah. Yep. Sold.
Salary floor, no more deferments. Baseball fixed. I win. Flawless victory. I should be the commissioner. Screw you, Rob Manfred. I'm also available to be the commissioner of baseball. I can do both.
Execute order Ray Costello.
Yeah. Orders 66 million.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, goodness. Well, so that's the sports section of
Geeks Who Like Sports. I segued for us.
Yes, as we talk about Order 66 and all kinds of Star Wars stuff. It was a big week for Star Wars a couple weeks ago. We had a lot of announcements coming out.
Lots of stuff, yes.
I want to kick things off. A Darth Maul TV show.
It's going to be excellent.
Let's go.
Yeah, finally. It's been too long.
Yeah, Sam Witwer's going to return as the voice of Maul.
Yeah, he's being rewarded for his years of service. He's one of the biggest Star Wars fans out there, much less voice actors.
Yeah, no,
multiple time. Yeah.
This is. There's. I mean, look, obviously we all want more Darth Maul. Darth Maul has been a beloved character since he first appeared on the screen as the first Dathomirian we had seen on screen, the double-bladed lightsaber. He just reeked of coolness. Well, I had a Darth Maul t-shirt in high school.
How about the transcendence of him being killed in Phantom Menace and somehow 30-plus years later still completely relevant? It's insane.
So popular that they had to figure out a way to bring him back.
Well, he's this generation's Boba Fett. That's what he is. Actually, more powerful.
Oh yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is then the following generation then ruined Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I was gonna say, but for you and me growing up, it was Boba Fett, right? Boba Fett just somehow survived.
Right.
But we're both Maul fans too. But Maul has been the one. It's like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Hopefully this show doesn't ruin Maul the way the Boba Fett.
It won't. It won't because I don't think Sam Witwer will let that happen.
No, I agree. Speaking of Boba Fett and Mandalorians, the Mandalorian film is on its way. It sounds like they're going to tie that into Ahsoka and the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn.
He's already returned.
Yes. Spoiler alert. He returned at the end of Ahsoka season 1. I think this is great. I think this is. I love the idea of them. Yeah, it sounds like they're basically going to try to do Heir to the Empire, but it's going to be the Mandalorian instead of Luke Skywalker. I think this is phenomenal. I think the Mandalorians versus the return of the Imperial Remnant is just a brilliant idea. You're going to have the Dathomirian witches, I'm sure, involved in some way. This is going to just be tying in. This is going to be an expanded universe smorgasbord. And all the books that we read as kids are going to somehow be represented here, and I am all for it.
Yeah, so the film's called The Mandalorian and Grogu. At least that's what it's called today.
Right.
All right. And again, I've said it before, Ahsoka has been fantastic. I would not be surprised if Luke Skywalker's in the film at all. They've done some amazing work with that within Ahsoka and The Mandalorian. Boba Fett may even appear in these things. So
yeah,
the Disney Plus TV world becoming films, my hope is that they have a trilogy planned. I hope this is not just one film. I am undecided if this leads to the First Order being created or not. I think they should stay as far away from that as possible. I think you could have a little droplet at the end of like, oh, there's something left over that may turn into the First Order one day. But I'm excited for this. They've done such a great job with those shows. I've loved all of them. Outside the Acolyte, which really is not in this universe anyway.
No, fortunately, it's well before everything. Mentioned also Ahsoka season 2 announced. I'm sure it's going to be all about.
They're already filming. Yeah, Rosario Dawson just shared a picture of her silhouette as Ahsoka. I really enjoyed Ahsoka, so I love to see where this is going.
It wasn't my jam, but I appreciate what it did for moving the Thrawn story forward. That's really all I care about.
Sure.
Another big announcement. This one, you mentioned keeping away from the movies and Rise of Skywalker. Star Wars Starfighter, taking place 5 years after Rise of Skywalker. And Lee, they're talking about a new threat from beyond the galaxy coming.
Oh man, the Vujon Woon.
That's immediately what I thought of. 100%. It's going to star Ryan Gosling. Look, you know me, I love Rogue Squadron. I am desperately dying for they were supposed to be the project from, I can't think of her name now, who did the Wonder Woman movies.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
And the plug got pulled. I hope this can be that. I want some just epic space battles. Just epic space battles. Like, just focus on the space battles, please. Dogfights, X-wings and Y-wings and B-wings and A-wings and whatever the Vong ships. Like, that's what I want.
If it's the Vong, right? Again,
it's got to be the Vong. It's got to
be. Key of the Vong being that they are not force sensitive. The force does not affect them.
Right. The force doesn't touch them. Yeah.
All right. So which is, as a kid, I didn't love that, but now as an adult, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. I mean, well, again, you want to get as far away. You want to get as far away from the Force as possible. You're bringing an enemy that has no anything on the Force.
And again, it makes it. You can echo the Jedi storyline there and where that's going, but it will not be the main part of the story.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm excited for that. That's coming out May 2027, supposedly. And then one last thing, video game announcement. Star Wars Zero Company, or as fans have already started calling it, ZCOM, because it is. Very much kind of like XCOM in terms of its gameplay. It is a strategic turn-based game. It takes place, you play as a band of mercenaries during the Clone Wars. If you like strategy and you like Star Wars, this seems like a natural fit. I will play it day one. That is coming next year from EA. So,
and you know what came out this year, Ray? 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
And I did go see that with my son the other day. And the joke I was telling people is I told my son, I saw this with your mom 20 years ago in the theater. Won't go deep into it. Really enjoyed seeing it in the theater. I believe Revenge of the Sith has the greatest opening in all of Star Wars. A lot of people like Episode 4, but I still think that the Battle of Coruscant, or the end of it, is the best opening in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Things that stood out to me. It's 20 years ago. And the animation and CGI on this film still holds up. In fact, it's better than some of the films today. It goes to show you how far ahead George Lucas was at every step of Star Wars. He was so far ahead. There are some minor things in the film, like I see now, like, okay, that looks a little dated. But I mean, Ray, it's just insane what LucasArts was able to create 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The thing that bothered me was, and a friend of mine said this, the movie's been memed to death with "Hello there" and General Kenobi, and the audience, I'm gonna sound like an old man, was annoying as hell. Like these teenage kids, they first off, I asked a few people about this, and I don't think I'm wrong. The disrespect of getting up, running around, I mean, really running around the theater during the movie, talking and gibbering and just being loud during the film was like, I'm like, shut up, guys. Yeah. Like one kid behind me was like, when's this gonna end? How long is this? I'm like, shut up. What'd you come here for? If you know, it's like, so there's a new generation of moviegoers. And I know I sound old saying that, but you know, we've memed so many movies. You're seeing this too with Minecraft with the chicken jockey and lava chicken. Man, we got to get control of some of this a little bit. And again, I'm not so much against the chicken jockey. I think some theaters have leaned in, like theater owners are jumping around in actual chicken jockey outfits.
Right.
Sure. Have fun, make it fun. But like, guys, I paid $60 to be here. Shut up. Like, you know, to relive my youth for a minute. Shut up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing. And it's like, you know, you talk about the movie going experience, and it's like, it's gotten more expensive. There's less, it seems like every day there's less and less reason to go to the theater.
Like they got to get that under control. And I asked somebody, I said, is this what we did when we were kids? Maybe I forgot.
No,
no, you sat there and you were quiet. You enjoyed the film.
No, if you talk during a movie, you got slapped so hard and you got told to shut up for 2 hours.
Now, I will say this too. The opening scene and then seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan fight again, amazing to see in the theater. The other cool part is now that 20 years has gone by and we have a lot more context on these characters and where they've gone, I thought it was really enjoyable. I mean, like, you know how it's going to end. I wasn't on the edge of my seat like I was in 2005. All right. But I was like, this is really fun. And Logan, my son, loved it. He loved seeing it. That was cool.
That's great. That is good. And that is cool. It's always nice when you can do that. I saw Starship Troopers on the big screen for the first time for a long time, about a couple of weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. Yeah. Seeing movies on the big screen, it's a different vibe.
Totally different. Yeah. And again, just that dum, and then seeing Obi-Wan and Anakin again, it's great. But they very covertly skipped the anniversaries for Attack of the Clones because it was last year was the 30th. This is why we did it. Last year was the 30th for or 25th for Phantom Menace, and I took Logan to see that, and I was like, well, we kind of skipped the middle one. Why? I was like, they're not going to re-release Attack of the Clones anytime soon.
No, probably. Yeah. No. I think they also were doing special screenings, I think, of Empire around here, I think in LA at least.
Look, they do them all at the anniversaries. Like they will do them all at the anniversaries. And I think that Revenge of the Sith is now the biggest opening of all time for a movie coming back to a theater. Oh. Like I would not be surprised if that made a lot of money. Like my theater was sold out, man. It was tough to find tickets.
Wow.
So, and Hayden Christensen said this is now the biggest release of a re-release movie of all time.
That's great.
So it's not number one, but it's making money.
And I'm glad he's had a resurgence and a
massively
re-embracing by the fan base.
It proved that he was that generation's guy. Like again, when those movies came out for us, I think we were in our late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
We were original Star Wars fans, but now you're seeing 20 years later that there's a lot of people grew up with Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
And that's their guy, right? And so it's been really cool to see. I never hated Hayden Christensen. I just always thought his part was written poorly. I didn't think it was his fault.
Yeah.
So I never liked the hatred that they gave him.
Yeah.
But I mean, his resurgence, and then he's playing Anakin again now in several projects, and he's doing great. So it's cool to see.
Yeah. No, it is good to see. And again, and those movies have, in hindsight, aged better than we thought. Except for Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, especially Attack of the Clones didn't age that well, but the other ones did.
Yeah. Well, Phantom Menace, I think in particular, I still think Phantom Menace is a very solid film.
Well, I'm going to say it again, dude, that Revenge of the Sith CGI was amazing. I mean, the pod racing scene is still
in 1999. Yeah, right. It was 99.
I cannot imagine how long it took them to make that at that time. Yeah. It is still one of the best scenes ever filmed.
Yeah, and I still think that the Maul fight scene at the end is one of the best. Like I think even with the parallel of them blowing up the Trade Federation ship, and obviously blowing up the Death Star. Like I didn't mind it as much because everything else around it was just so epic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was great. And again, I will say, The only good thing with the Acolyte was the lightsaber fighting. But look, the last note on this, which is funny, is the joke. If there's anybody younger listening, the joke that we had from '99 till today was tariffs and trade talks. This is so boring. Who cares about this type of stuff? And then little did we know that's the type of war we're in right now, the Trade Federation. So
yes,
amazing how far ahead Lucas is.
Yes, and again, you've set me up perfectly because speaking of tariffs and trade federations,
you're welcome, Ray. That's what we do here.
Thank you. Nintendo just recently announced that the Switch will stay the same price as originally announced.
Yeah, total right move by Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, I think it partially was because that the tariffs, at least in countries aside from China, were rolled back. Right. And Nintendo had wisely saw what was going to happen and moved several of their production facilities from China to Vietnam and Cambodia. But when the tariffs were announced that they were going to hit every country, that's when Nintendo went, oh no. And they had to hold and they had to wait. And then, the tariffs got walked back. And because of that walking back, they're like, okay, we're going to go with the original announced price now, because again, all the North American, the American and Canadian Switch 2s, I should say, will be made in Vietnam and Cambodia. So everything got to stay the same. I got to pre-order mine at midnight. I like getting mine from Best Buy on June 5th because I love video games. And the only thing is that will go up. The accessory prices will go up slightly. They said controllers and things of that nature prices, I think, will go up like $5 or whatever. But
yeah, this is an easy business decision. They're going to lose on the front end, assuming that the tariffs are still in place. All right. They might not be by that point, to be fair. All right. But they're going to lose it on the front end. But someone at Nintendo probably was like, people paid money for the games. That's where we make our money.
Yes.
Which is exactly what they did. Because if they raised the price of this thing, I think they would have lost their ass. And again, that's kind of the point of the tariffs too. Like whether you agree with them or not. And I'm not saying that I do. I'm just saying that, good on Nintendo for figuring this out. You make your money on the back end, not the front end of these consoles.
Yeah, no, you just need to get the consoles in people's hands by any means
necessary. I'd be interested to know how much it costs to make a Switch. Yeah. Because if they're selling it for $450, I mean, that means that they're making it for about $100 or less. Which I can't. It may be like to me, that might not be the margins there. It'd be very interesting to see an idea of what they're making on a Switch. It might not be as much as people think.
I do not think they're making high margins on these.
I doubt it. No, it's the game.
I think yes, it is 100% the games. Again, we talked about it when it was first announced that the reason why this is the most expensive Nintendo console ever, even though if you look at inflation, it's basically the same price as what a Wii was. Right? If you look at what a Wii cost 20 years ago, it's what a Switch 2 would cost now.
Right.
So that is the thing that people forget as well, is that inflation is a constant thing that has never left us and has been part of our lives since the day we were born, which is a fact. It's why my parents would get what they call cost of living raises every year. They never got raises. They got 2% raises because cost of living always goes up 2% every year. It just seems that most companies forget that actually people give people those raises anymore. Anyway, that's a different story and different topic.
Different time.
But what basically Nintendo is basically doing what they can to kind of keep again, they're going to make very little money on the consoles, like you said. And they're going to make all their money on you not even buying stuff in store. You're going to download Donkey Kong for $70. I
was going to say that the margins have never been higher.
The margins on the games have never been higher.
Well, that's where you make your money. And then, like I said, they already, smartly for them, they said the games are already going to be more expensive. So like they kind of, and they don't need to be imported.
No,
that's the other thing too.
And that's the thing, and that's why it was just all a matter of figuring out what the price point would be where they don't take a bath on the costs, but they can still get into people's hands and it's still somewhat affordable. And again, we talked about it when the Switch 2 was originally announced. It costs money to shrink technology.
Right.
And Switch 2 is now basically taking your Xbox Series X or your PS5 and making it very, very tiny. And that's why even for Nintendo, these costs are because now it's as powerful as an Xbox and a PlayStation to Switch 2. So, or at least very, very, very close.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah. And breaking news. Respawn canceling all games not related to Apex Legends or Star Wars. Ooh. Well,
that's not a surprise.
Not yet. The industry is very volatile right now, as we're talking about, and that's you want a safe bet. Apex Legends is a cash cow and a moneymaker, and obviously Star Wars is Star Wars. So there you go. Moving on. Speaking of things that used to be cash cows, at least. Assassin's Creed Shadows. I finally beat it, Lee. I finally beat it.
And when does this take place?
It takes place in the early 16th century feudal Japan.
That's correct.
Which is what's great is what's very interesting about this. First of all, the story is phenomenal. The acting is great. They do a nice job of actually finding a way to tie it into kind of a little bit of what's happening with Ezio and the Templars in Europe and the Assassin's Order in Europe. Basically, obviously, they're separated by an entire world, but it's kind of the rebirth of the Japan Brotherhood, because that's what it is. It's a rebirth of the Japan Brotherhood in this game. And they're realizing they're part of something bigger, that there's something bigger here. And I think that's a great kind of thing, while also embracing the themes that you don't usually get in Assassin's Creed of empathy and forgiveness. And you don't assassinate everybody in this game. You assassinate a lot of people. Lee, I killed 109 named characters in this. Wow. That is a lot of assassinations. In fact, so many assassinations that I'm going to also say my big knock against the game is it is bloated. It took me 80 hours. That is twice as long as any other Assassin's Creed game. And I love Assassin's Creed. It is bloated AF, my friend. There is a lot of really pointless assassinations in this. But, I mean, to the point where I was forgetting major story points because it took me so long to get to the next one.
Right.
But it's still pretty good.
So what's been your favorite Assassin's Creed so far?
Overall, it always, depending on the day, it's either Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed 4.
Okay.
Right? And then
Odyssey, like the original 2 or one of the offshoots?
Yeah, no, the 2. The first one with Ezio, and then the one with Edward Kenway and the Pirates, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag.
Yeah.
Those are always kind of flip-flopping for me.
Yeah, Black Flag was good.
Yeah. And then Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the one in ancient Greece.
Yeah, so my son, Logan, so I finally convinced my son to try something other than Fortnite. And I said, your mom, him and my wife are very similar. I said, she really loved these Assassin's Creed games. So we had Assassin's Creed on Game Pass. There's Origin, there's Odyssey, there's a few of them. And he said, well, I want to play Odyssey. So I said, good. That's a good one to pick. I don't know how, I don't remember Origin being that great.
Origin was fine.
It's fine. It's Egypt, right?
It's the one in ancient Egypt, yes.
Yeah.
But so in the what they call the mythology trilogy, right? Which is Odyssey, Origins, and Valhalla. Yeah. I think Odyssey is the where it's basically.
Is that the order in which they came out?
No, it was Origins,
right.
Then Odyssey, then Valhalla,
right?
Which is it's Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology, and then.
But he'll be fine. Just jump. Oh, he doesn't care. He's a kid.
He can jump right into the Greek. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He can jump right into it. I think Odyssey was the most complete of the experiences.
Sure. Yeah, Valhalla sounded like fun, but it was just
unfortunately, Valhalla began what I feel like now carried over into Shadows, which is just. There was a lot of bloat.
Well, you know what it is? They're trying to keep up with the open world nature of games, and those games cannot be open world like the way the true open world games are. But they have to give enough. And Zelda kind of fell in this trap a little bit. Although I'll give Nintendo credit, man. What they did in Tears of the Kingdom, like Logan still plays that and builds. So they captured that market.
It's not for us. It's not
for us. It's 100% not for us. So I think that's what they're doing is they're just making gigantic open worlds. And what's interesting, Ray, with gaming, and it's like it shows the differences is that I'm not against open world gaming in any way, and I totally understand the emergence, not emergence. What's the right word? The being into it. You know what I mean? Why can't I think of that word? Immerse. Thank you. I'm getting old. I understand why people want to have the immersion in these games, but what's interesting to me is I got to word this right. I can't find the time to dedicate to those games the way they need to be dedicated to. And I mean that as a compliment, right? Now, with that said, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm so busy I can't play. I'm saying like, no, I'm immersed in other things that I love to do, coaching and writing and being with my kids. That it's hard for me to dive into that. I also, and I mean, you could call me, I also kind of create my own worlds, like coaching hockey at the level I coach is its own open world game. Literally, I'm all over the world with that.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, I'm kind of asking this question in a long way. Like, I love this, just still side scrollers, but like, man, I kind of miss the games of when I was growing up where it's like, 20 hours and it's done. And it's like, but of AAA titles. And we're away from that. Like if I want to play a game like that, I got to go find something that, new. And it's like, again, maybe I'm old. Maybe that's just not the way things are going to happen anymore. I just think there's value in a 20-hour story-based game
where
there's not 600,000 side missions that I don't care about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm playing a game now called South of Midnight, and I'm only about 20% of the way through, but I feel like it's kind of like that game. It's made by Compulsion, but I don't know if it's AAA. It's probably more like AA.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah. Like there's not many games like that anymore. And I kind of miss them. You know what I mean? But look, it's okay. It's like I said, if gaming has evolved to that point and that's where the money is, I can't argue that at all. Right.
Yeah.
It's just I don't have 8 hours. And there's nothing wrong with this. I just don't have that much time to sit down and do that.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. And it's like, and for me to finish Assassin's Creed meant that there's a lot of I have a backlog again because there's a lot of games that came out that I didn't start until I finished Assassin's Creed because it's just. But it was so long. And I'll say this: I get it. They were trying to do the immersion thing, but for me it did the exact opposite.
Yeah, you want to be done with it.
Right. There was so much that they put in there that I was kind of just like, this doesn't feel immersive. This feels like a checklist. This feels like.
Here's the thing, too, is I think also the developers like, well, we got all the space we can fill. And it's like sometimes it's like you don't have to do that. You just don't have to do that. Just make a good game.
Especially when it starts to feel like every region starts to become copy and paste.
Yeah.
Like there's 11 regions in Assassin's Creed Shadows. And it just felt like, okay, here's the evil gang of this region. Here's the temple of this region. Here's this.
That's not good.
Assassin's Creed has had that problem before, but I haven't felt it so much in a long time as much as I did in this game. Yeah. Like it reminded me almost of Assassin's Creed Unity in that aspect, and that is one of the, if not the worst Assassin's Creed game. And that's why I feel really bad because I really wanted to love Shadows so much because we haven't had an Assassin's Creed game in a couple of years. And there are aspects of it I love. Again, the story, once you get rid of the bloat, is solid. The world is beautiful that they created, although I do have a couple of issues with some of the mechanics. But I feel like they put, I get it. They put mountains in there and they made them very untraversed. There are games where you can climb more, other Assassin's Creed games where you can climb more, and nothing frustrated me more traversing the world than running up a rock wall that I thought I could climb and then falling down. And I'm like, but I see lines. Why can't I grab them? Those should be handholds. And it just felt like, I don't know. I'm going to give the game a 7 out of 10.
Solid score.
It's not bad, but it is far from the best Assassin's Creeds. Like, it's not the worst Assassin's Creed, but it's definitely not the best. And there was enough here that gave me pause. And also, by the way, the dual protagonists, I have to mention this. I get it. It feels like Assassin's Creed right now, because of this game, feels lost. Like, they don't know what their fan base wants. Right. And so they try to throw a lot in here to kind of try to figure that out. Almost like Resident Evil 6, which was a disaster at the time for Capcom.
Right.
But they threw a lot in there, and then they were like, okay, and they fixed everything for Resident Evil 7, right? And then Resident Evil 7 was one of the best since Resident Evil 4, right? Where they gonna, again, like, sometimes there's trial and error, and I felt like Assassin's Creed Shadows was a lot of trial and error. And this dual protagonist thing, while interesting, and each story was very good, I think that's probably part of the reason why the game was so bloated and so long, was unnecessary. Both characters play very different. You have Naoe, played by my friend Masumi, spoiler that I know her. Very traditional Assassin's Creed, which I enjoyed.
You're telling me it was 2 games is what it was. Yes. 2 games in one.
And then you have Yasuke, who I loved his character, but he was so overpowered.
You said that
there was no challenge when I played with him. So I actually tried to steer away from him so I could get the true Assassin's Creed experience. I mean, I kind of joked. I mean, they kind of turned. He was the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah,
Lee, I could use him. I could run through every door. I could run through every bamboo wall. I was just like it's cool and it's fun and it's funny. And I'm sure that there's probably a bunch of kids out there who like, look at me memeing as I just go like a wrecking ball through everything. But that's not Assassin's Creed to me.
No,
right?
It's a different game.
Right. I mean, again, it was cool because like I was beheading people left and right with Yasuke. It was just like, oh, yeah, but he's just this. And I'm sure there are people out there who were thrilled by just having this unstoppable juggernaut that they could play with in the game. Wasn't for me though. So, and to go back and forth, because there are times where then forces you to go back and forth, were just not for me, not my jam. So 7 out of 10. It wasn't bad, but boy, it could have been so much better.
Just, like I said, solid score.
Yeah. Finally, we're going to wrap things up here with a new movie trailer drop.
Speaking of juggernauts.
Speaking of juggernauts, yes. The Rock. Lee brought up a good point because we don't know what The Rock's motivations are, but boy, this sure does feel like him chasing an Oscar with this role because he transformed himself. It's for the Smashing Machine. It's the biopic about Mark Kerr, one of the original UFC fighters, early UFC fighters, and his life story. Yeah, I mean, there were moments like I was amazed at the makeup job that they did with The Rock because you look at the dude in real life and you look at The Rock in this trailer and it's like, oh, The Rock looks exactly like this dude. Like it's phenomenal. I mean, look, and it's going to be heavily dramatic. Obviously, it looks like a lot of folks, unfortunately, from this where there's going to be a lot of violence, there's going to be a lot of drugs, there's going to be a lot of like interpersonal relationship drama. I don't know if this is going to get the Rock the Oscar nod that he wants. If they didn't give Zac Efron an Oscar nod for the Iron Claw, I don't know if he's going to get one here. But good on the Rock for really looking like he's immersing himself in a role and doing his best to maybe elevate his acting game. And maybe if he stays in Hollywood, he'll leave Triple H alone so he can work on fix all the wrestling storylines. So, Lee, what are your thoughts on the Smashing Machine?
Yeah, look, the trailer was fantastic. Number one, definitely seeing Dwayne Johnson in a different light, although a similar role.
Yeah,
it definitely is a pitch for an Oscar. If not an Oscar, at least hey, I can be a serious actor, which I think he has already shown that he can be more than an action star. But this is him just challenging himself to take it to the next level. So my quick thoughts are, it looks like a very interesting story. It's a forgotten athlete by a lot of people today. I think it should be a good movie. I mean, it's like probably going to have a positive ending too, which I kind of like. And it's been a while since we've had our last Oscar-worthy sports film. Yeah. So I'm all about this. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's an interesting story. It's a story that a lot of folks probably don't know much about unless you are a super hardcore UFC person. But yeah, it comes out October. Trailer looked great. I'll probably give it a watch.
Right. It's going to be good.
Yeah. So anyway, well,
that's it. We did it.
We caught up. We're all caught up. So schedule's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks. We'll keep you all abreast of all that as we figure it out ourselves. Lee and I are super busy.
Yeah, busy summer.
Yeah, busy kickoff to the summer. But might have a couple of special guests coming on. We'll figure it out. But we're not going anywhere, at least not yet.
No, we'll be here next week.
Yeah, so we'll have an update on that. But until then, yeah, enjoy gaming, enjoy sports, enjoy all that other fun stuff that's going on. Go see a movie. Go see a movie, hopefully without kids running and screaming in the aisles.
Get off the lawn.
I know. We're shaking our fists.
That's what it is. Get off the lawn. Get out of the halls.
Yeah,
Stop telling us the ending of the movie.
Oh, gosh. You know that Darth Vader is Luke's father, right? Yeah.
In the words of Leia. What?
Yeah. I just always remember that Simpsons scene, right, where Homer spoils it for everybody waiting online after he comes up for The Empire Strikes Back. Just yells, "I can't believe he was his dad!" Yeah, everyone's like, "All right, thanks, buddy, for the money."
It was like when I went to The Last Jedi, and someone walked out of the theater and goes, "I can't believe Luke died." I'm like, "Oh my god, dude! Oh my god, you moron!"
Oh gosh, yeah, or all the Mandalorian spoilers and everything online.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
I can't believe Luke died. It's like, what?
On that note,
On opening day. All right, we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, for Lee, I'm Ray, and this has been another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.